The Australian Arid Lands Botanic Gardens here in Port Augusta is an absolute asset to our community. Firstly and foremostly, it provides this amazing space which is all around education. Education right through from childcare groups, through to kindergarten, through to schools, adults, university, etc. It really is an area which we can pick up on so much learning for everybody to enjoy.
In Australia, we didn't have an institution where the growing and research of arid zone plants was centred. So I recommended to the City Council that we look at establishing an Arid Lands Botanic Garden in Port Augusta. There wasn't a lot of interest, but I wasn't told not to go ahead. So just quietly in between my other work, I started promoting the concept. In 1984, we formed a friends group, a support group, which became incorporated so we could raise money. A site had already been found for the garden. The friends could work on the site as volunteers.
When I got here, there was not much here. A boardwalk was already built and a boundary fence. The first plants actually went in along the main entrance road to hide out the houses. A lot of the friends group was propagating the plants at home in their yards, and I'd keep them at my place. And then we come out here and plant them.
Well, after about 10 years, early 90s, WMC Resources were looking for an environmental project that they could sponsor. So my understanding is Western Mining spoke to Port Augusta Council, State Government and Commonwealth Government and said if they would all contribute some money initially, they, Western Mining, would put substantial funding in. After 15 years of not very much at all, just friends, volunteers and a little bit of money that the friends had raised, there was more than $1 million. It's fair to say that without Western Mining's involvement and pushing, I really don't think the garden would have happened at all.
The first thing that I started to build on, building-wise, is the visitor centre. They wanted something for the people to look at straight away, so I got Adelaide Botanic Garden to make plant labels for me, and I just put them on the wild plants. I started drawing up my own plans and ideas and started putting the track system in, pegging it out. A local contractor with a bobcat and a little tip truck putting in the first tracks, and then eventually the council came out and put in heaps more tracks. And in between I was working out what regional areas to represent in Australia. Then we went out bush and collected seeds in different areas and dug up plants with permits. And then came out and put the irrigation in and planted the plants. And so what you see now, a lot of it what I put in.
The garden serves as an outdoor classroom, offering tours and workshops that not only showcases the diverse arid adapted plant life, but also educates visitors on the importance of conservation and sustainability.
I've been a tour guide out here at the Australian Arid Lands Botanic Garden since 1997-ish. Tour guiding sort of started when I started. I had a great aunt who was in the original committee out here. Her name was Pauline Schiller. So I always thought that when I retired I would come out here. So when I retired I rang up and said, do you want a tour guide? Because I knew they were looking for them. And they said yes, so I came out here and met a lovely lady called Pat Katnick who organised the tour, and she organised a great basic tour. At that time there wasn't much plants much taller than my knees. I had no idea of plant names at the time. It was all double Dutch to me. So I gradually taught myself over the next 6 months.
The volunteering role is a massive thing. You become more of a part of a community working towards a common goal of good for the community. We were instrumental in setting up the Arid Explorers Garden, or the Children's Play Garden, which has become a huge draw card for the younger generation. I was also involved, along with Rhonda and Peter Hall from the Friends in setting up the memorial garden seats that we have throughout the garden, and at the moment I think we're up to about 32 seats within the garden, which have all been funded by individuals at no cost to council or the gardens, and it provides another service to the visiting public as it gives them somewhere to rest their weary feet.
Over 40 years, our visitor numbers have just gone through the roof, and really over the last 10, when we've been recording numbers, we've tripled our numbers through the gates. With the garden being open all day and the visitor centre open for the middle of the day, people are using the cafe and enjoying the tours with the Friends in the morning and just wandering around. It's free to come in and people really love that. We don't charge to come in the door. I think it's a really special place for people to look after their well-being and get out into nature and reconnect. In 2022-23, we had over 127,000 visitors through the gate, which is an amazing amount of visitors getting to enjoy the gardens.
And that's quite significant. That's the sort of numbers that some of the major botanic gardens in the world are getting.
The Australian Arid Land Botanic Garden regularly hosts community events and workshops that bring people together surrounded by nature. We are proud to also be part of, wherever possible, much needed research around many aspects of nature, be that bird, plant, insect or wildlife. Our connection with this important research work is vital.
You're getting an example of the true arid zone of Australia when you come to this garden. We have a lot of people today don't have the opportunity to get into the bush because they can't afford to go bush, and so they can come here and get a feeling for what is out there in the real bush.
It's good working out here because they go out in the bush, collect seeds and cuttings, then bring them into the nursery and propagate it all. So you start from a minute seed and then watch them grow. And as they get bigger, say, I grew all that from a little teeny weeny seed.
It's been great to watch the garden grow and develop and start to mature. I'm just so glad that I proposed it when I was relatively young and have been able to see it develop to the stage where parts of it are now mature. It's really a very encouraging and a great feeling to have.
My favourite part of working in the garden, number one, is working with all of the staff and the other volunteers.
The people here are really, really nice, and you walk in and you just feel like it's family because we've just been around for so long together. It's been the best 26 years of my life. It's been so interesting.
The garden itself is an environmental arc, I guess, with the form of climate change that we have coming. Many of the plants that we have in this garden may be in the future the only plants that we will be able to grow in lots of areas of Australia outside of where they grow now.
We embrace being part of a really proactive approach to really caring for our planet.